Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're bringing you a Kickstarter preview of Taverns and Dragons from Lord Raccoon Games. This is a dice rolling, dice allocation game all about running around this rondel system, gathering resources, potentially fighting giant dragons, not to take them down, but to rip off big hunks of meat, because the king is coming and you're trying to cook the most scrumptious meal possible before he actually arrives.
At the end of the game, you are going to win if you have the most points. One of the main ways of getting points is by fulfilling these recipe cards, which, as Jesse said, you have to rip off those hunks of meat from those dragons to fulfill that recipe cards.
Yes.
You are moving your meeples around this rondel, gathering the different ingredients with your different workers, and then going to make these delicious, scrumptious meals.
Yeah, so this is a game that we actually covered about a year-ish ago, and really liked it back then, was very excited about it. We don't have a paid relationship with Lord Raccoon Games at all. They're an indie publisher, a single designer, working to make some cool stuff in this space, and as you all know, I am, if anything, a fan of brand new content creators trying to make something cool and trying to, wiggle their position into this space. So if you like indie publishers, if you like things that are doing things that are unique, we ask that you swing over to the Kickstarter page, give them some love, give them some support, leave some quacks down in the comments, all that type of stuff, right? So the cool stuff for Taverns and Dragons, the thing for me that makes this stand out in the realm of dice allocation is a combination of how simple and accessible it is, paired with the unique abilities that each one of your meeples has, and the way that you mix those up with your tableau system. So the core functionality of the game is that you're going to be taking and rolling a pile of dice. These dice will then be assigned, kind of one at a time, like placing a worker, to various different actions that you can take around the board. You can assign them to meeples to have them run and skirt around the outer edge, and you're always going to be following this rondel path. You can assign them to recipes, which are going to allow you to discard ingredients from your board to cook and prepare food.
You can assign them up here to this top corner to get some coins, and you can assign them down here to get these gems, which is going to be your primary way of activating these main locations in the middle of the board.
Yeah, so there's going to be various locations in the middle of the board, and depending on where you land on this rondel track, you'll be able to spend gems, and depending on if anyone else has been there, you'll be able to spend more or less gems to take advantage of these extra little abilities. Now, at different stages in the game, which will be marked up here on this King's Road track, you're going to have various different creatures, which are going to be humongous dragons, pop down onto the game state, and then you can actually spend actions to take them out and fight them with a pair of your own custom dragon killing abilities. Now, you have to pay gems to fight the dragons as well.
And each dragon, as they come out, has a different effect on the game state, and they kind of have a little bit of a different flavor. You have to take out, on the dragons, you have to take out a row of damage to get the rewards, both in points and the ingredients, with different symbols that are on the dice.
Yeah. So, what do I like about this game so much? Why have we brought this back to the channel? Why are we encouraging those of you that are interested to check it out, and why am I personally backing it myself? Well, I think it does a cool thing in the dice allocation system. There's a lot of ways to use your dice, but the primary means is going to be running and chasing one of your 3 meeples around the board, and each one of these meeples relates to a specific ability. One of them is going to be able to run a little bit faster, meaning you can get back around the track as quickly as possible, gather up the last few ingredients you need, trade them in for recipes, or fight the dragon, or activate the space before your opponent. The other is going to be able to carry a few extra items, which I think is this bagged guy here. He actually has 3 slots because you have a limited amount of resources that you can bring with you. And then the final one is just kind of an average worker who you do have
Jack
to
of all trades, master of none.
He's not really proficient at a lot of specific things, but depending on what you roll will determine the player order. If you're the lowest roll result, you actually get to go first. Sounds like a bit of a debuff, but in reality, because there's so many different areas that you want to interact with and different areas that you want to activate before other players get there, it's a nice balance and a nice kind of system into the game. I may be in the perfect position where rolling a 1 or 2 allows me to skip forward, grab the extra resources I need, and then take a single action to move into the village and go ahead and cook and finish off a recipe. It's an accessible game. It's a thematic game. It has incredible artwork, including a adorable little rubber duck there in the water.
I did not notice him until you pointed him out.
Very cute, right?
Can I say the favorite thing that I have?
Yeah.
I like all these powers and abilities. These are cards that you can buy and then use.
Builds out your tableau.
You have a tableau, and they are game-changing abilities that are so cool when you can chain them up right. They can help you fight the dragon. They can help you gather resources better, make recipes. They're cool. They're so worthwhile your money. Yeah. And this was always usually the location we went to first. When you had those dice, you wanted to collect those coins because that was the only way that you were going to be able to buy those cards.
If you have the money to pick up some of those cards and some of those abilities, they can be really fun. Now, they've done a lot of work on this game since they launched on Gamefound about a year ago. And honestly, I think there was a combination of two things that didn't really sink in for the Gamefound campaign. One, Gamefound struggled with some of the smaller content creators on the platform. It doesn't have the natural pathways through, and they were one of the first to step out and say, hey, we're going to start experimenting with this new platform. I'm excited to see them back on Kickstarter. I love both platforms. I think both platforms work for different publishers for different reasons, but I think, it's day one right now. They've already launched. They're right at that funding goal, so if you go over there, you're going to be able to back, you're going to be able to get your hands on this game. They also developed some Kickstarter exclusive stuff, some of the expansions, which I won't spoil too many of, but right over here we have the Gremlin Goblin expansion, who's just a trader. And you're going to be able to use some of those coins you have to purchase items from him. The trick is you have no idea what the items might actually be. So you come over and take a gamble, buy whatever's currently in his bag, maybe get something good, maybe get something amazing, maybe get something you didn't want, need, or ask for at all. That's just another little side system they have. They've also mixed in some events and some other things that just add more complexity and more theme to kind of the profile of the game. So I'm really excited to see them bring this back in. I'm glad they didn't stop working on it and developing it. There was also, back in the day, a lot more take-that elements to this game than there are now. I think it's more of a worker placement, more of a Euro-style game now than a helter-skelter kind of mad dash. Some of the things that maybe won't work for you.
Well, one more thing that's a really good proponent is the artwork. I happen to really like that artwork. I think it's adorable. I think it is colorful and vibrant and draws your eyes and is very attractive.
It is full to the brim of hidden references and secrets if you all pay close enough attention.
I really like that horned duck. That's just catching my eye now.
And you had no idea it was there.
I had no idea it was there.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool things going here. Now, that being said, I do always try to give a bit of a caveat, especially when we're talking and encouraging people to go support something, especially for like an indie designer. I want to make sure that the people that will love this game go purchase it. I also want to make sure that if it's not the right game for you, you don't go pick it up.
One of my biggest critiques was that it had a decent amount of luck in it, and there was less mitigation that I was enjoying. I was trying to take down those dragons and get those meat because it was crucial for my recipes, and I could not roll the right dice to take down the dragon. And that was really frustrating at the time. Especially if you have a poor dice roll and you can't get around the board fast enough, there is a decent amount of luck. So if luck is not up your alley, this might not be the right game for you.
Yeah, depending on how you build out your tableau, there is a degree of dice mitigation in the game, but because this is a dice allocation game, how you roll your dice definitely comes into play. The other thing for me, the just big thing that I would note is this is more of a light to mid-weight style game. This is not a heavily, overwhelmingly complex dice allocation game. This is a fun 15 minutes per player style romp. And so if you have a family weight group, if you like getting a few games to the table on a game night evening, or if sometimes you want to relax, grab a drink, and just have a good time, this positions itself really well. But if you like dice allocation games and you specifically want something that is heavy and crunchy, where every action you take is the make or break decision, this really isn't that. This is something that leans into the fun and the humor and the light to midweight nature that it presents. And I think it does that really well. But just a fair caveat there. If you're trying to train someone into loving dice allocation, or you want to entryway them into the hobby with amazing artwork and an accessible, approachable game, Taverns Dragons should be right on your alley. Any other big notes you want to make about the title?
No, I think it's adorable. I've enjoyed my time with it.
I was
fits into its genre well.
I was extremely sad to see the last campaign not fund, and I thought it didn't fund despite itself. I thought it was more nature of the platform than it was of the title. And so yeah, I'm excited to see it come back. Hey, if you're watching this, if you made it to this part, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below. We do have some gameplays up already from a year ago, but I'd be happy to dive back into this with the team. And so if you're interested in seeing more content, let us know, and we'll see if we can make it happen. With that being said,
whatever the case,
whatever you do,
remember to do the important thing.
go cook a lovely meal and eat lunch with a dragon.
We'll see you next
It's
time.
not what this game's about.
No.
Go slaughter part of the hindquarters.
Go make recipes for the king that's coming.
Go slaughter the hindquarters of a dragon and run away. It's a steaming pile of meat. Then you cook up for your esteemed visitor who's coming soon. Go do that.
We'll see you next time.
Dragons heal quickly.
Thanks.
Don't worry about it. The ribcage has the best meat. By far.